Good afternoon, Rhody Nation. We're back. Marks Remarks is back on WRIU 90.3 for Season 4. It's my senior year, 4th season. Very happy to be back in Kingston doing this show, bringing all of these great stories to all of my loyal listeners on the radio and on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you guys decide to listen to my show. Your support is incredibly appreciated by yours truly. So, to start this new season, to get back into the swing of things, I thought I'd bring in a seasoned veteran of URI Athletics, a member of URI Football. URI Football just came back from Minnesota, playing against FBS, University of Minnesota, some Big Ten football. Not the most convincing result, some might say, but it was still a great piece of exposure. And in the studio today, I'm joined by a guy who can tell us all about that and a bunch more about the program. I'm joined by 6th-year tight end Brady Roark. Brady, how we doing?
Good. I'm old, man. As you said, it's 6th year, 24 years old. You kind of walk around the campus, you're like, what am I still doing here? It's kind of funny. One of my coaches said the other day, he's like, man, you're just held together by duct tape and a dream. So I'm doing pretty good. Though. That's
what I love to hear. I mean, I love getting these sort of stories to hear about guys that have been here, because this program's changed a lot over the past few years. I know I had Kasim Hill, quarterback from URI Football, on last year. He just recently graduated, but I mean, he was another guy that's played college football for over the 4 years, over 6-7 years. And you start to see that a lot more. And some people may find it a little weird, feel like you're not giving enough of the young guys a chance to do it, but I personally think it's great. I love seeing guys be able to stick around programs like this and really see a lot of their work that they put in years ago pay off as these programs sort of grow. And I mean, you are a perfect example of that, because you've been in Kingston since 2019.
Yeah, I've been here for quite a few years, and like you said, I've seen the program change from kind of go from like a season that was 2-10, actually probably one of the most athletic teams I had been a part of. I mean, if COVID didn't happen, I think you have more than those 3 guys that made the NFL. You probably have about 5 or 6 there. To now, we're talking about knocking on the playoff door every single year. So it's been awesome to kind of see the program change and transition to where it is now. But there's been a lot of growing. I
can imagine. So, I mean, just to kind of touch upon that growing, I want to go back to kind of hear about where it all started for you. I mean, just like walk me through a little bit of how you decided to do college football, how you ended up in Rhode Island as a Jersey guy, and I mean, just where it all sort of began to getting you to where you are now.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I was a 2-sport kid in high school. I was a big lacrosse kid. I honestly thought that was going to be my sport. I was like, this is my bread and butter. This is easy. Like, I love this. Yada, yada, yada. Did all the summer tournaments and everything. I was doing football because I loved that also. And my senior year, we went out on a high note. We won the state championship. We ended up like number 1 in New Jersey. And it was just such a good feeling. And, signing day and stuff like that is like the latest you can sign is like February. So I was like, well, I got to make a decision now. I kind of made the decision. I was like, listen, just football just gives you so much more life after sports, the camaraderie with the guys in the locker room, and, just the relationships you're going to build for a lifetime were just better than what I felt was coming from lacrosse. And I kind of, it was kind of hard to say no after turning down, the state championship and all that. I was like, well, I got to keep going, I guess. So, Rhode Island offered me super, super late. It was like the last week before the last signing day in like December. That they offered me, and I had a couple other CAA schools, some other walk-ons to like some MAC schools, and another big program that offered me was William & Mary, but my dad was a alumni there, played with Mike Tomlin. Sean McDermott was his GA. That photo that always floats around on Twitter, he's on there. So I was like, are these guys kind of just offering me because my dad was, a legacy, like this legend there, yada, yada, yada. Like, I didn't really feel the true love, and Rhode Island County came in the picture, came up here, went on my official visit and stuff. Had a great time. That's when Charlie O's was still here. It wasn't, just a rubble of brick down on Point Judith. And I felt love from the coaches. I felt the family atmosphere and, really the opportunity to be a part of a team and get to play so early, but also just kind of build my own path and really, stray away from, I went to high school where my dad went to high school. Then it was like I went to a private school, and it was kind of just like I wanted to kind of build my own path and see what I could do by myself without being in my dad's shadow for so long. And, here I am now, year 6, and we're rolling. But I just really fell in love with Rhode. It's weird. I'm not even a beach guy. Like, I hate. If you see me in person, I am the palest guy you'll see. Like, I'm SPF 100 wherever I go. Like, it wasn't the beaches. It wasn't the nice weather. Like, if anything, you can leave me in like Alaska and I'll go have fun. Like, that's just more my style. But honestly, it was really like the love, the campus and the atmosphere that the coaches kind of gave me, and it's really cool to see all that come full circle. Obviously, what they tell you when you're a recruit, they're your best friend, and then the joke is like they're your best enemy once they actually get to start coaching you. But it's really everything they've told me has kind of come true. Obviously with a lot of hard work and effort, but excited to be where I am now.
Yeah, and clearly that connection that you were talking about was as strong now as it was all the way back then. But I mean, I'm curious. You said that you had gotten offers from like other CAA schools and other MAC schools. Were you at all worried about coming to URI as a football player, given what the program was looking like at that point?
To be honest, I didn't really look into URI's history too much. I mean, that could have just been me being a high school brat and just being like, oh, they got cool colors and swag and they're in the Ocean State or whatever, right? But I had kind of known, they had a winning season before. They were 6-5 like that or something like that, above 500. And I was like, all right, this program's starting to make a turn for itself. They kind of talked about some of the guys and the dudes they had, and it was really just, I didn't want to go off and be somewhere that I didn't really felt wanted. And I think that was the biggest thing for me is I felt wanted. So regardless of their record or whatever, I was kind of there to take the punches. And, as we did in 2019, we definitely took some punches. But,
yeah.
We rolled with them, and then we turned a losing season into a winning season, into another winning season. And, here we are trying to get our fourth one in a row. So definitely, like I said, just excited where I am now, and it's been a lot of time.
And so you get through 2019, 2-10, rolling with a lot of punches that year.
Yeah.
You play in 4 games, but you get that college experience of like, I'm playing college football.
Yep.
Like I feel it there. 2020 comes, COVID ruins everything.
COVID was what a year.
Yeah, ruins everything in college athletics, and it's just like you essentially don't play any football.
Yeah.
And there were 3 games in the spring of 2020.
Yep.
And it was just like not a true season. So you get an extra year eligibility for that.
Yep.
And then you get through 2020, and then 2021, your first like true full season as a bona fide player. I feel like you can almost call that like the start of like your college career to an extent.
It really was.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like talking through the years and stuff. It's like 2019, great, redshirted. I got to start in 4 games. A couple guys got hurt at the end, and then I was able to start as a freshman, so that was awesome. I mean, I was like, this is sweet. And until you step out there, you're like, these dudes are big and fast. I'm like, holy moly. You know what I mean? 2020 hit. I actually blew out my knee like in this preseason of that. So I grinded to get back to find out then that like I played on special teams or whatever. I wasn't like fully healthy. And then to find out the season's canceled after, a new coaching staff and like a new belief. And then it was like, yeah, we're done. Like we're shutting it down. And I was like, dang, on top of like COVID, it's like the only hope you have.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, I wake up, I got football at least, right? It's like, I mean, crazy. And then like you said, 2021 was kind of like the first time on the scene, like really being in a full season, like getting in every game, getting like meaningful reps and stuff. And then 2022, 2023, and here we are now. It's just turned into, it's really just, like I said, seeing everything come full circle and seeing all your hard work pay off, like kind of sticking with it. I mean, the turnover that you see now in college football is unreal with the transfer portal and NIL now and all that. I mean, the amount of guys I've seen come in and come out and come in, come out, especially during COVID and stuff like that, which is, I mean, you got freshmen coming in and they're like, this is college? Like, this stinks. Like,
yeah.
I don't blame them. I mean, were you here in 2020? Was that your
No,
first year?
2021.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, we were eating in like tents outside of Butterfield, and Butterfield's a dining hall for everybody listening, by the way. And it was like single file military line. It was like if you didn't like home style, you were eating like pasta and meatballs. So it was like you had 2 options to eat every day. And as an athlete, you're like, I have to eat. I don't have a choice. And I'm a college kid, so I can't eat up top or go off campus for everything. What a brutal time, but we've made it on to better times now.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. And so just kind of going over this work and like really grinding to do this. And it's like you started as a walk-on and had to really grind to assert yourself as a consistent member of this program. And just kind of looking back, reflecting on the past few years and the work that you've done, just how do you feel that you as a player kind of evolved as the times have gone on?
I think as a player, I think the biggest thing, like something I would tell myself when I was younger, is to just be more mature in times that you don't really know as much as you think you might know.
Yeah.
And also take care of your body. I mean, here I am, year 6. Like I said, I played a lot of snaps, a lot of games. I think after this season, after the 12 games, I'll be like up to 50 or something, which is crazy. But honestly, it's just if you are able to, as a younger player, like get into the playbook, learn the offense, learn and just know your role and do your role to the best of your ability, good things are going to happen. I mean, like as a freshman, majority of times, unless you're, the 5-star, 4-star kid coming to the school, like you're probably not going to get much burn. So like those, Devo lifts or those trips that you might go to, some that you might not go to, like don't just blow them off and, get in trouble on the weekends. Like still, you really, really have to like love the game and stick to the grind because it's going to pay off and it's going to reward you. You don't know when it's coming. Like you're like, oh, here it is. I hope it's coming this week. Like here comes a touchdown or something. Like you have no idea when it's coming. But the minute you turn your back on it, like it's over. Yeah. Like you have to be consistently bought in. And there's times, the great saying that my dad always tells me is like, you can't burn both ends of the candle. The wax is just going to run out too fast. And you'll feel it sometimes. Like, there was definitely a time in my career where I wasn't playing as much. And I was like, all right, I can sneak going out here. I can sneak going out there, sneak a party in there. And I was like, wow, I feel like crap. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do this. And, you just learn. Like, you learn to take care of your body. You learn, like, all right, I'm 22. I got to stretch before practice now. I can't just run out there like I'm an 18-year-old anymore. But really, it's really just you really have to fall in love with that grind. I mean, if you don't fall in love with the grind, then it's miserable. Waking up at 5:30, 5:15 every day. But if you love it, then you wake up with a smile on your face, and it's no matter where you're living, if that's, the slums and all that, or, luckily for me now on the ocean front. So I'd say just really falling in love with that grind and then really just being truly committed to like what your goals are and sticking with it and not giving up on yourself. Because the minute you do, then nobody's there to catch you and, nobody's there to tell you to keep going either. It's really just a mental warfare going on in your head, to be honest.
So, like, what about your role in the locker room? And, like, because you've been on probably every level of the totem pole that you can be on in a football locker room, but you've got all of these experiences that freshmen need to learn, and freshmen need to understand, and transfers need to learn and understand, and so on. How do you use sort of your seniority to try and help guide these guys along? Because I imagine that you've probably got a boatload of experiences that have taught you some difficult lessons as you've kind of definitely navigated this sort of journey.
I'd say like the role in the locker room, obviously, as you go up the totem pole, just changes as obviously when you're younger, you want to just be able to buy into the culture. And it really helps if you have a good senior class, which, we did, which we kind of had in 2019. And then every year after that, we had a great, captain, senior class and all that. And it's really, will those guys take you in and put you under your wing and show you the ropes? Because you're only as good as what they show you. And that's kind of what I believe now, like being one of the older guys with freshmen and transfers and stuff like that. I mean, we got guys transferring from Clemson, Iowa State, like all these top programs. It's like, and we know they did stuff differently. They have crazy resources and stuff, but it's like, can we get those guys? We know they love ball. Can we get them to buy into what we believe and what our culture is? The 3 more feet and all that stuff. So I'd say like my role now is more just trying to do the right thing every single day. And even on the days where you wake up and you don't feel like doing it, when you're a freshman where you would go through the motions, or you're even like a sophomore, not getting a bunch of playing time, so you'd kind of like, go to the sideline, pout, look all sour and stuff. But now you're one of the older guys, like whether or not you want to, like kids are looking up to you. So you better be doing the right thing all the time, because if you don't, then people are going to think, well, like Brady did it, I can do it, right? Or like, even a younger guy, like let's talk about Marquise, right? Like he's young, but he's a amazing player on our team. So, like, guys are watching him all the time. So, like, you got to tell, like, a younger guy like that, like, hey, just so you know, dude, like, I know you might not want all the attention, but you're getting it. So no matter what you do, just, like, you got to do it 100%, whether it's being, like, obviously being on time to meetings, all that little stuff, but getting extra treatment, getting extra work after practice. They're like, oh, I didn't see, number 1 do it, so I don't have to do it. I didn't see 89 do it, I don't have to do it. So it's like, picking up in the locker room, just the little things like that, kids will follow. Not as much being like a voice and all, which is great, like the pregame pep talks and yada, yada, yada. All that'll come. Guys are got all the hoopla and whatever, but it's really just doing the right thing. And, I mean, I've seen, because I was one of those guys, like I saw Sebi, Kasim, all those guys, Lorenzo, Big Nick, like all those dudes. Like, I saw them doing the right thing all the time, and it just made me want to do the right thing because they were great players, and I was like, I want to be great too. So it's really just following in the footsteps of the older guys and kind of putting a lot of trust in their hands, really.
Very distinct culture has seemed to be cultivated in this program, and I have to imagine that this has changed over the years with new coaches coming in and new players coming in. And I mean, you mentioned like a lot of these really strong senior classes to help guide people, but I mean, it's how maybe easy is it, or from what you've seen, to buy into this sort of culture? Like, do you feel that guys, when they come here, when they ultimately transfer in, do you feel like that the acclimation process to this program is easier now than it might have been a few years ago?
I think, I mean, really the culture swing started in really 2020, let's say 2021. We don't really count 2020. Obviously, 2019 was, like I said, one of the most athletic teams. I think we just had too much, like, me guys. And then we talk about the 2021 team, B-ball, Henry, like those dudes started what our culture is now. And it was able to be carried on by who the senior classes and stuff like that. Obviously the biggest thing with transfers and freshmen coming in and the acclimation periods is obviously everybody comes in with an ego. I don't care who you are, what star you are. You're going to come in thinking that you're, hot crap and you're the best guy on the field. So the biggest thing is just being like, listen, dude, we know you were the best player in high school, or you were the best player at wherever, Clemson, whatever, right? You're a part of this team now. You're here for a reason. So you got to buy in, or, at that point now, it just gets to the point where we're having so much success that's like, we don't need you. We're going to send you back off into the transfer portal, or ship you back to where you came from. I'd definitely say honestly it's harder now than it was before, just because of all the NIL and how easy it is to leave and find a new school, because you have kids that, are like, I'm better than this program, I'm better than this and that, and they don't want to buy into what we kind of have here, or they had something else at their other school, and it's a harder transition for them because maybe they had more resources. Like, they're like, oh, like, I'm hurt, I was getting a lot more treatment at my other school, we don't have, like, all the bells and whistles, the steaks and, steak knives, we got the PB&Js and, whatever it is, bag of Lay's potato chips, as Flem says. So it might be like a bigger transition, I think, mentally for some of these kids coming to Rhode Island, where it is a smaller FCS school. But I mean, we want guys that are all ball. That don't care about anything else. Doesn't matter. I mean, that's why we don't have last names on the jersey. You're playing for the name on your chest. You're playing for Rhode Island. You're playing for the state. You're playing for the school. You're not all those accolades and everything. They'll come. They will. Like, you can have your goals and whatever, but don't go play for that. Go play for the team and go play. Let's go play to win. And I think that's been the culture, and pushing the 3 more feet, that Flem started telling us. I mean, when I first heard the story, I had never heard it, and then I read a book called Think and Grow Rich, and it's about the story about the guy, long story short, went out to the gold rush, was digging for gold, hit the jackpot, the mother lode. Then he wasn't hitting any gold, sold all his stuff, left to go back home. He felt like a loser, whatever. Ended up being the number 1 sales insurance guy in America. But the guy who bought his gold rush mine, he literally just hit 3 more feet to the left, just changed path. Things weren't going good. He just changed paths instead of packing it in, and had the biggest gold find in America. It's actually based off a true story. So that's how the whole
interesting.
That's how the whole 3 more feet thing started. But I definitely would say it's harder for guys to transition in now, just because of the way college football is. I mean, you see all the old guys like Saban and, gosh, I don't even know who else, but example for Saban, like he doesn't even want to coach anymore because everybody's a prima donna, So if you get really like good kids that come in, then it's easy. But some guys, it's hard to drop those egos.
Yeah, and I mean, like when you've got that sort of culture and trying to set a standard, like you got to be able to check the ego at the door in order to really become like a cohesive unit, because that's the only way you're going to win. Like Flum talks about it all the time. It's like you got to be able to do anything and everything to get the win. And I mean, it sort of just going along with that, like as the culture has sort of shifted, the standard, I imagine, has shifted as well since when you first got here. I mean, I kind of alluded to, like this program historically hasn't been all of that great.
Yep.
In the recent years, especially the 3.5 years since I've been here, it's probably been the most successful period that this football program's ever had.
100%.
And so just how has the standard changed for you, for the team? Because I imagine that when a standard changes in a program like this, it's not just for what you do on the field and what you do in practice. Like it's a standard for every aspect of your life.
Right. I'd say, it's tough to say, obviously, in 2019 that our goal wasn't to have a winning season or wasn't to be in the CAA playoffs. I think that was just an unfortunate series of events where we ended up on the lopside of, I think it's like 7 games that were lost in the last 2 minutes of the game. That just didn't go our way. Where you look at 21, we were on the other side of that thing. But when winning comes and, you have successful teams and have successful, years, the standard becomes we need to be better than that. Like we need to outbest ourselves from last year. You learn to practice like a championship team. There's not as much fighting or stuff like that, bickering, whatever. You just learn to live like a champion. That's really the difference is I think that obviously we just talked about like the culture and stuff. You just learn to buy into that culture and continue to buy into it deeper. It's like 21 was like, hey, we bought in, we started it, right? Like that was the first season. Then 22 hits, it's like, all right, we got a little deeper. Like that was like the closest we've been, 2 games away and 2 crazy plays. And then 23 last year, like, okay, we had some things like maybe we set our expectations a little too high and didn't meet the bell, right? Lost a couple close ones and maybe some that we shouldn't have. And now it's like, how do we had all those crazy great seniors, graduate. It's like now we just have to turn up that buy-in and that culture just a little more, which, I mean, I think you saw against Holy Cross. I mean, backs against the wall, we went out there, and no matter what anybody says, these young guys definitely like the ball, and they're going to give everything they got. We might not have clicked yet or anything, right? Found out what our identity is yet this year, but it is still super young in the season, but it's really just you got to buy into the culture just a little more. Just turn it up. You got to keep 3 more feet. That's really what it is. Like if you stop, then that's it. But if you keep digging in, then it's going to work out. It's going to work out.
And so how much of a role do the coaches day-to-day play into this sort of into really establishing this culture? Because I know that like when you look at guys like yourself, a lot of these seniors, the seniors and the players are interacting with each other the most because you've class together, you live together, you do everything together, and that is a big part of it because you're holding each other accountable. But in this particular instance where you've had numerous coaching changes staff-wise throughout the past couple of years, I feel like that can kind of not crush, but hamper any sort of momentum to an extent in terms of setting a standard, in terms of setting a culture, because you have to then acclimate the coaches to that same culture, that same standard, and so on. So, I mean, just over your past few years, how have you felt that the coaching staff has worked to establish that? Or do you have any sort of coaches that you've worked with intimately that has really helped you grow as a player?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'm on my 4th position coach right now. Tight end coaches kind of, they're usually younger guys that come in or end up leaving or going into big things. I remember Coach Flanagan was my freshman year coach. Then Tyler Loftus was my coach before he left the UConn. Now he's back. Then Brendan Patterson last year. And then new guy Adam Griggs, who I absolutely love. He's kind of made me fall in love with the game again. Last year I had some trouble mentally and stuff like that. But he's done an unbelievable job. So I definitely say, coaches definitely play a big role in it for the mental aspect of things. Like, obviously, they can make you hate your life, or they could kind of pump you up and give you some confidence when you need it. But to be totally honest, great teams are player led. The teams that you see win the national championships and stuff like that, like, the coaches don't have to do much. They might just give you the guidelines, and then you have the players and the seniors that are really just holding people accountable and stuff like that. Good teams are led by the coaches. And that's the thing that we always talk about, is that great teams are player-led and good teams are led by coaches. We don't want to be good anymore. We want to be great. So the biggest thing is that the coaches, they'll help us when we need them to, but they really kind of step back and, they let the older guys, the senior, and the culture that we've kind of, laid down on the carpet build the team itself. And obviously if we need help or stuff like that, guidance, then you go in and talk to them, and they have open door policy whenever you need. But it's really just the seniors or the older guys. Like, this isn't a huge senior class. Well, it is, because COVID and the 2019 and 2021 class.
You got a senior class that basically makes up 3 different grade years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it is a little big, actually. But it's really just like the seniors that build that team, and that's, like I just said, that's what we talk about all the time, is we want to be great. So we try to make sure that the coaches don't have to babysit you, whether it's wearing the right stuff out to practice. Like, we're an Adidas school, wear Adidas. Like, we all wear white socks, wear white socks. Like, on game day, you don't have to tuck in your jersey, but don't have your shirt hanging out. Like, nobody needs like 1,000 armbands. Like, you want 1 or 2, look good, but don't be obnoxious. Don't look different from the team. Like, just little stuff like that, and just following the team rules. Like, the coaches shouldn't have to worry about that. That's just a distraction to get in their way, and that's stuff that we, even as players, shouldn't have to worry about. It should be just second nature. Like, I got earrings in, I got to take them off for the lift. So just little things like that. Just really trying to make it like a player-led team, and hope that we get to the championship.
And so over the past couple of years, you've seen that sort of player-led atmosphere with a number of really strong senior classes. I mean, like, take last year, you got Kasim Hill, captain, leading that sort of group, and they're able, like, on the precipice of success, but then obviously aren't able to get over the line.
Right.
You lose a great deal of that seniority, but this year, there's still a good deal of seniors.
Yep.
I'm curious just how this season could be different from seasons gone by, because you've talked about how young this program is right now, considering the amount of freshmen that have come in, the amount of younger transfers that have come in, where it seems that this, or to me at least, that this squad that's been assembled is more geared toward the future in a way.
Right.
And so I'm curious, just to, like, as one of the more senior guys on this program, what is different about this squad than squads of the past, like, 3 or so years, and what is different in terms of expectations for this season?
I'd say the expectations that we stay the same. We have, like, offensive, defensive team goals and stuff. Obviously, win the CAA, first playoff berth in whatever it is, 20, 30 plus years now, or 85 was the last time. Those will always stay the same. Obviously, we, on offense, I can't speak necessarily too much for the defense. We take each game as a season. So there's 12 seasons this year. We have 12 games. And the big thing is just not look ahead. I think last year we got a little, lackadaisical. We kind of looked ahead. We're like, we're playing this team. We got to worry about Richmond or somebody like that. But, I mean, obviously not having as much of the senior – I mean, we have seniors that haven't even played yet, and it's tough because they don't have the experience necessarily. So not having as much experience, I think we only have 2-3 returning starters on offense. But the one thing I'll say about this team is they love the ball, and they're bought in. The thing about these guys is they were part of those winning seasons, some of them, and they got to see, like, what goes on and how it goes down. And they were able to buy into that culture. And, going to the transfer portal and getting some guys that we needed, at crucial positions, we made sure, and the coaches made sure, I can't speak for me, but to get guys that wanted to buy in, that weren't going to be, the ego problems or cause a cancer on the team. And I really just think that the difference with this team compared to the other teams is that we're younger and that nobody expects us to win. There's no expectations. I mean, people look, oh, you graduated so many seniors, this and that. We're not ranked preseason, this and that. And I actually personally love that. Like, nobody sees Rhode Island as anything right now. So it's kind of like we can come out and just shock the world and shock the CAA. Like, we weren't ranked high preseason. Past seasons, we were always like top 25, like ranked to finish like 4th or 5th. This year, we're like ranked to finish like 8th or whatever, right? And everybody's like, oh, Kasim Hill's gone, whole offensive line is gone. It's like, yeah, but like we still got some dudes here that can ball, and we just brought in a bunch of dudes. We got 2 FBS quarterbacks that we're battling out all camp and stuff. Like, I think that's just the difference, is that everybody knows that we kind of have that. In the past, we might have had that target on our back. Like, people really aren't giving us the time of day, and now it's like we get to go out and prove people wrong, which is the cool part.
And having that chip on your shoulder must be cool, but I also wonder, like, on the flip side, do you feel that relieves pressure on you guys to a degree, because you don't have all of the eyes on you expecting you to hit these heights, to where, say you don't, everyone's like, oh, that was a failure. But in this case now, where they're projecting you to finish bottom half of the CAA and not really contend, do you feel that relieves pressure on the guys as individuals in a sense, and allows them to maybe not play more freely, but play in a more comfortable environment to where they will be able to feel comfortable, particularly for the younger guys? Yeah,
definitely. I don't know if it necessarily takes away pressure. I mean, I've always thought, and if you were to ask Kasim, Seb, all those guys, that like the rankings and the preseason, all conference, all that stuff, like, it's all rat poison. So I think I wouldn't say it's less pressure, because obviously there's still a lot of pressure for Rhode Island football to win right now with the amount of, funding and stuff we're getting from the state. Like, we're getting all the funding for the stadium. Like, we better win, right? But I do think that it helps keep less distractions away. It's not like, hey, we're 15th in the country, like, oh my gosh, or like we're better than we think we are and stuff like that. So I definitely think that it keeps like the distractions at ease. And for the younger guys who might not be, as mentally strong yet to be able to block that stuff out when it comes, I think that definitely helps. So really just, keep the distractions away and stuff like that. Like I said, it's all rat poison. I hate seeing the rankings and stuff like that. Like, people post it all over social media. Rhode Island's ranked, this and that. It's like, it doesn't mean anything until the very end of the season. Like, even preseason, right? Like, we had all these guys get preseason all conference or whatever, and I think it was AJ. He's like, doesn't mean crap to me yet. Like, I gotta go prove it. It's like they're basing that off of like last year and what I could possibly do this year. So it's like, now I got to go show them what I can do, which is, I think, the mentality that everybody has on the team. So it's good, but it's necessarily like not really on people's mind yet. Hopefully we'll see what happens. Obviously, we start to pick up some wins here, knock on wood, and we'll kind of see what happens with the rank. I mean, we're getting whatever, 2 votes a week for the AP poll or whatever. Like I said, I still think it's all, rat poison. I personally don't pay attention to it, and that's obviously, you got to tell the younger guys not to pay attention to it, because that shouldn't be what's on our mind. Like, that's great, we're getting votes, but we're still 1-1 football team, right? Yeah. Like, those rankings or votes have nothing to do with our goals yet. They will at the end of the season, but just not yet. So we can't get anybody to be thinking too early yet.
And so, yeah, the rankings can definitely be a distraction, and people got their eyes on you much more when they see that there's a number attached to it, and they're like, all right, like, hey, let's start comparing them to other programs, but don't really have that right now necessarily, but you will soon. Glad that you mentioned it, with the new investment that's coming in for the program, the new stadium that's being developed and is a part of a massive initiative from the university. If listeners remember, when I had the athletic director Thor Bjorn on my show last year, we discussed a grant that was coming in the tens of millions of dollars from the state of Rhode Island to help the university improve overall athletic facilities. We saw the Solaviv basketball facility be developed and created. It's now a fully functioning part of MACL for the men's and women's basketball programs. Those were not a part of the grant, The grant covers football. The grant covers track and field, and it covers baseball, soccer, and a number of other facilities on campus. But the marquee aspect of this plan is definitely the improvements to Meade Stadium. I mean, we've seen the brand new scoreboard, which is nice. It is really cool.
I will say, walking out for that first night game, seeing the Jumbotron with, even just they were playing like jump around today on it and doing the hype video, I was like, pretty sweet.
Yeah,
like,
it's cool.
It's pretty cool having that thing there.
Because it's like you have like, and it just adds to like that sort of whole atmosphere.
Right.
Like you get like a lot of these cool stadiums, whether they have massive stands or not, like you see those sort of quirks, and it's like, all right, it's pretty cool. Like you get the cool replays of like the great replays of you making a catch, or like AJ coming in, sacking the quarterback. Like it's great.
Yeah. No, it definitely brings to the atmosphere of the stadium too, which I think Meade does an awesome job, and the fans out there, you guys do great and stuff. But I mean, having the Jumbotron definitely helps.
Yeah,
it's sweet.
But so the stadium is set to be developed in the next like 2 or 3 years. The plan
we'll see about that.
Yeah, exactly. Not going to hold me off. We got it in 5 years. But I mean, have you seen just kind of what the stadium might look like? Like as a player, obviously you won't be here when.
Right, sadly, I can't sign for another 5 more years.
I was just saying maybe there's a couple medical red shirts you can do or something. But have you seen any sort of renderings of what the stadium might look like, or what the plans are kind of looking like?
I've seen kind of probably what everybody's seen, deep scrolling on Twitter and stuff. Basically their goal is to kind of just build it around, the Ryan Center side that's already pretty nice as it is. Really just redo that press box side, build like that 2-3 tier stand side, put a really nice press box and stuff, and then, maybe talk about flipping the field. Who knows? I mean, the information I get is, it's like playing telephone. It's like I was the guy who told me probably was told something else, and then, you go down the line and you find out, well, that wasn't true. So, I mean, I'll be interested to see what happens. I would love for in the next like 5-10 years that they build a dome.
Building a dome would be neat, and that would make total sense considering Rhode Island weather.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, every Tuesday, Thursday, cross my fingers it hasn't started yet, it rains.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was like a span my junior year where I like actually counted. I think it rained like maybe 8 Tuesdays in a row. And it's like, this can't be real, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable. It felt like I was in Seattle for like, the month of October. I'm like, it's October. Like, what's going on? By the way, not like nice sun shower rain.
No, we're talking pouring.
Yeah, like torrential, like hurricane-style rainstorms. And then you want to mix that in, it's like, oh, it's finally gone. Here comes the 3 feet of snow in the winter.
3 feet of snow, the constant 40-mile-an-hour winds.
It's that 1 week where it's like -8, and you're like, why do I go to school here?
Exactly.
Then the flowers start coming out, you're like, I guess it's pretty nice here.
Now I remember, but it's sadly 6 months after football season.
So I got a month of school left. Yeah. It's like, it finally gets warm.
But with the plans, like we've seen renderings of a multi-tiered section of the stands for the big grandstands at Meade. They're looking to demo those and put up something new. Similar to James Madison, that was kind of the comparison that I saw a lot. But out of curiosity, as a football player, when you get a stadium like that, where you've just got an immense amount of fans there, like you saw it at Minnesota the other day, it's how big of an impact is it playing in maybe not a more enclosed stadium, but like a stadium that just has that amount of fans?
I'd say more just, I mean, the level of juice that just flows through your body. You just get immediate goosebumps. It's just cool to see a stadium. I mean, like playing at Minnesota, I'll be honest, not the most impressive stadium I've played at, but it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking the brick on the outside of the stadium to the turf. I mean, it was top notch, top tier. I mean, that's Big Ten football, but like Virginia Tech, like a stadium like that, just the noise levels. I mean, you have such an advantage. I mean, I know against Minnesota, like the whole week we had to practice with like a speaker, right behind the quarterback, blasting music just because of the noise levels. So it definitely actually gives you like a home field advantage. It makes it harder for the other team to just come in and, try to run their plays, audible, hear what they're checking or whatever, yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, just being a player walking out on game day to a packed stadium with a roaring crowd, that's why you play college football. It's like you run out there. I mean, I remember 2019 running out to Virginia Tech, and, they run out the same time as you, but their horse and like all their banner people have already turned the corner. So you're running out with them, and I'm like, dude, this is why you play college football.
Yeah.
Like everybody's there. Like this weekend, Saturday night, 6:00. Like people will be doing their own things, whatever, yada yada yada. But like people are planning like right now on a Wednesday, right? Like, hey, we're going to the game. Like it's just awesome to have that feeling that like the whole state, the whole town, like has eyes on you, and like they're there to support you and watch URI football. Forget the Campbell fans that come; they can get lost on the way or something. But it's an awesome feeling, and that's why you come out and play. Like it's just the tradition of like just this is college football. Like coming out to a packed stadium. Oh man, it's great. Like you get goosebumps just talking about it. It's unbelievable.
And so with the new improvements to the stadium and just like the overall investment into the program and the new younger talent coming in.
Yep.
I mean, obviously this is your last year in Kingston, but looking beyond this year and like 5-10 years down the line, whatever, given your experiences and your intimate knowledge of the program, where do you see this program going over the next few years?
Oh, I for sure see them having a CAA championship, at least one, maybe 2, 3, playoff berths, abundant visits to those. But I mean, the amount of talent that they've brought in, I mean, these younger classes are loaded. You're talking about the guys, you would talk about the class graduating, it's that the COVID class or whatever it is. Yeah, there's a lot of good seniors, but yada, yada, yada. The classes below us are star-studded. I mean, there's guys that nobody even knows about yet, or these freshmen that are coming in. I'm like, he's a freshman? He's 17? He's like 6'6", like 345. I'm like, holy smokes. You got guards pulling like they're missiles. It's like, I mean, just the game has changed so much too. Like, where are we finding these people?
Yeah.
Like, did you guys like make him in like a test tube or something? And just like now he's here. Like, I remember coming to my class, like we had 30 guys, and I think there's like 5 or 6 of us now. Like everybody ended up quitting or whatever, but like we weren't no like scary sight on eyes. Like you see some of these freshmen, you're like, what are you guys eating? Like what is going on? Like I'm so excited to see where URI football goes and what grows and what it grows into. And I mean, sadly, it is my last season. I'm definitely going to enjoy it. Not even thinking about the last game or any of that, just kind of playing to have fun. But I definitely see a lot of success in, what they've been able to do, what we've been able to do in the last 5-6 years in turning the program into now saying like, I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but like, hey, it's a disappointment if we don't have a winning season.
Yeah.
Where in the past it was like, maybe that was like expected, and I don't mean that in any of the worst ways possible. I think that every year they come out and say, hey, we want to do this and that, but it's like there's going to come to a point in time where it's like Rhode Island's expected to make the playoffs this year. Like Rhode Island is expected to win or tie for the CAA championship since there's 800 teams in the CAA now. But I'm so excited to see what they do, and that was another big thing is when you're picking schools. My dad told me, he's like, don't pick Rhode Island for the next 4 years, well, 6 in my case. Pick it for the next 40. Pick it for the next 60 years. You want to be proud wearing the RI on your chest when you're 45. Going to your daughter's soccer game or your son's baseball game. Like you want to be proud of where you came from, and you want the place of where you went to have meaning, and that really always hits me. And I've tried to, everybody I meet and talk to just have a lasting legacy, and I want to make sure that I leave this place on good terms, and because I do want to come back. I want to one day be a investor and stuff like that, definitely. And if they don't have a bubble at that point, then maybe I'll be the guy that gets them a bubble if I hit big, or something like that. But I see a lot of success. I don't know, how much longer Big Flem's going to stay around. I know he's had quite the career, and he's getting old. But I see a lot of success with these guys. We got a lot of young studs on the coaching staff, and a lot of star-studded guys on the roster that people haven't even seen yet. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and I mean, I am too. I mean, just having witnessed firsthand, seeing how this program has changed over the past few years, both on and off the field, it's been incredibly impressive. And just there's so much more to come. There's so many more variables, like you said, that we're not even aware of yet, that could impact this program, that could send it to new heights. And I mean, I'm certainly excited to see what that looks like. But But I want to switch gears while we still have time to talk about some other things. This is off the gridiron. URI Athletics, and particularly URI Football, does a lot of charitable work. I mean, that's a big part of college athletics everywhere. You want to give back to the community. You want to be a part of the community that enhances your own play and helps you get to the position where you are. And so one of the biggest things that URI Football is involved with, for all of those listening, is Be the Match, which is a program where a bunch of different athletic teams on campus set up a big tent outside of the Multicultural Center, and they try and encourage people to join a blood and stem cell donor registry, and in order to do exactly what it says. For those in need that need surgery, or for those that have serious medical conditions, to donate blood and donate stem cells. Guys on the football team that are in part of that, as you are, all signed up to join that registry.
Yep.
Probably not thinking anything else of it, thinking that it was just going to be
single thing.
Yep. However, my humble guest here was one of the guys that just so happened to get a call saying that he was a match. And so that story broke last September, and he and Evan Stewart, a former linebacker for URI, both received that call. And so, I mean, take it away. I want to hear this story, because when this broke, I was like, wow.
It's honestly, it was crazy. So Ann Evans, she does the Be the Match for Rhode Island and all really the New England schools. And it's kind of funny now, since I have donated and stuff, I'm on all the posters that they bring to the school. So, like, they brought it to Holy Cross. They're like, oh, Holy Cross is talking smack, blah, blah. Whatever, side story, but funny. So, long story short, I swabbed in the spring of whenever I donated. So, it was 2023. So, 2022, I swabbed because we do a spring event. And I swabbed because, I was just doing the right thing, right? And I'm like, I'll never get picked. The lady's like, I've been on the registry for like 15 years. I've never gotten a match. I'm like, probably going to be me. Like, right? I'm all messed up. I play football. My stem cells are probably bad anyways. And then like October comes and I get an email from Be the Match. And I'm just like, whatever. Like, but I read it and they're like, hey, you're a potential match. I'm like, holy smokes. Like, there is no way that this is going on. So they're like, well, we need you to come in and do blood work to find out if you're the perfect match. So I guess basically there was like 5 or 6 of us. I don't know the exact number. And they were like, listen, we need to find out if you are like the perfect match. So I go and get blood work. Now I'm like top 3. I'm like, holy smokes, we're getting a little closer now, right? Then I go get blood work again. And before I go in for blood work the second time, I get a text from Evan. He's like, yo, is this Be the Match stuff real? I just got an email. I'm like, whoa, like you got picked too? He's like, yeah, dude, like, I'm kind of nervous. Like, what have you been doing? I'm like, honestly, like, not bad. Just gave a bunch of blood work. Like, they want to see if I'm Be the Match. He's like, well, my patient is different. I guess they need me soon, so I have to donate in, like, January. Because my donation ended up being in May. And I'm like, have fun. Let me know how it goes. Like, I was like, you're going to be the, test dummy, for me first. And let me know if I'm going to do this. But ended up going great for him. Honestly, I don't know if he met his yet. But anyways, long story short, end up going to donate, stuff like that. It's in the middle of spring ball. Coaching staff was super supportive of it. Obviously, it's their charity, so I was kind of happy that they weren't mad at me for missing practice. I ended up donating to a 64-year-old lady. I can't say what she had, but she had a blood disease. And my donation saved her life. And you get to meet a patient after a year. So it's been a year now, and I've actually gotten to meet her. We connected via like Instagram DMs and stuff, and I mean it's unbelievable. It's really cool to see like full story. Obviously meeting her now, and she's got like kids that are like in their 30s who have kids, and she's just like, Brady, I want to thank you so much. Like I'm alive because of you. Like I pray for you every day. Like my kids pray for you. She sends me like birthday cards. She's like, hey, she follows me now. Like she's like a super fan. It's awesome. It's just so cool to see. But before all that, like I was just like, oh, I'm donating, like whatever, right? And then I had made a post on my Instagram, like, so excited to have been a part of Be the Match. And this is where it really hit for me, is like all the close family and friends that I had, or just like friends that I had reaching out to me, and they're like, hey, you're doing a great job. Just so you know, like, my mom's alive because of this. Like, nobody knows this. I'm like, holy smokes, like, this is real. Like, it just makes you really, really think about stuff like that. Like, I had some really close people who, like, I didn't know that, like, that I know really well, and I still didn't even know that about them, coming out and being like, listen, what you're doing is a great thing. Like, I just want to let you know, like, my aunt or my uncle, like, are alive because of a, like, donation like you. And I'm like, that's unbelievable. Like, it's really cool when you really think about that. It just brings it full circle for you. And I'm hoping to one day meet my, recipient in person. We've talked about it, or doing like a Zoom call or something, but it's just such an awesome opportunity to, it's like you say it's so nonchalant, but like, I saved somebody's life. Like, it's really cool. Like, how many people can really just stand there and say that? And it's not really about, bragging or anything. It's like I'd do it again if I could. I'd do it for everybody on the registry who needed it. And going through and seeing Evan do it and him, having a great experience with it definitely inclined me more to speak about it more, and then feel a lot better about actually doing my donation. But it's just an awesome experience, and it's such a cool thing, because the sad part is there's really people like that can't find these matches. So, signing up for stuff like that and possibly being able to save somebody's life. I mean, I saved somebody's life who has kids, who has granddaughters. And it's like, you just think about if that was somebody in your family, like your grandma, your mom, your dad, or something like that, battling through that. And then the grace that they have for you. And it's like, what are you thanking me for? Like, this was easy for me, but they're so appreciative. It's unbelievable. And that's just kind of what's been such a cool outlook on life for me but definitely an awesome experience, and would definitely 10 out of 10 recommend everybody signs up for it. If you guys hate needles, grow up. All right, it's not that bad. But Rhode Island, actually, in general, has been a pretty hot spot. I know, like, since I've donated, like, 5 or 6 people that have gotten picked from it. So I actually know somebody that got picked to do the bone marrow, transfusion. It's like the quick surgery instead of just the stem cells, and she's actually going to go and do it. So it's awesome, but I don't know if that one probably would scare me a little more. I'm not going to lie, but definitely an awesome thing. So I'm glad I went through with that. And like I said, just talking to, I talk to the recipient every day. Just DMs me like, hey, Brady, praying for you. Hope you're doing well. Like, great game this weekend. Saw you had a catch or something. It's like, it's super cool. Like, it's like, dude, like, you don't owe me anything. It's like, but she's like, no, I do. Like, whatever, but it's just an awesome thing. It really is.
It's incredible to see experiences like this that come out of football. Like, realistically, like, it's difficult to say whether you would have been able to do this if you weren't, like, already involved with it because of football.
Yeah. It's just, that's what really hit me. You go back to the first question you asked me, like, why football or why Rhode Island? And it's like, everything that's happened in my life or happened throughout my career, my 6 years here, feels like 16. It just feels like it's been, like, lined up, and it's meant to be. Like, every single thing that's kind of turned out to be good, forget all the bad, but it's kind of been, like, premeditated. Like, it's already been planned out for me, Like you said, the odds I sign up for Be The Match if I'm just a regular student on campus, not as high, But even, okay, now seeing a football player that went and donated, like, you have people that look up to you, like, okay, I'd love to donate. Or getting, even, like, just getting into the community and stuff, and getting Be The Match out. Like, something I used to do that was huge was I was president of the SAC club for a while, but, like, getting into the community and showing, like, that football players are more than football players. Like, there's more than life after football and stuff like that. I mean, there's so much you can talk about, but it all comes from football. Like, the life lessons, the friends, the connections you make, and it's unbelievable, and it's never ending. I mean, even look at this talk show that we're on right now, right? Like, would I be doing this if I was not here at Rhode Island? No. But, I mean, granted, you're a Rhode Island guy, but, like, if I was just a regular kid, no. Like, I wouldn't have the awesome opportunity to come on here and tell my story. So it's just the opportunities you get. It's now what you make of them. That's the question.
And certainly, and I mean, like, you have an unbelievable story to tell through so many different facets. And I'm so grateful that you wanted to come on and talk about it with me.
It was an easy yes. It was an easy yes.
Love that.
Love talking.
Well, Brady, this was incredible. I am thrilled that you were able to join the show. I loved hearing about all of your experiences. That Be The Match story was absolutely incredible. And to everybody listening at home, if you are interested in learning more about Be The Match, go online. It's www.nmdp.org. It's now called National Marrow Donor Program. But, go on, read more about it. You can join the registry because, I mean, you heard it here first. You will save a life. If you are a match, you will save a life. And I don't think there's any more honorable thing to do in this world than that, to be honest.
Hard to beat. And if you guys, need any form of information or stuff like that too, feel free to reach out to me on any of my social medias. I'm glad to answer any questions and stuff like that. And like I said, if all you're afraid of is a little pinch, then come on. I mean, then you gotta get over that hump. I mean, listen, there's guys who I've seen who are afraid of needles and they crawl up like little babies, but it's really not bad at all. I mean, I was in the chair for 3.5 hours, but you can like move around. I was having of course I was eating, but yeah, if you have the opportunity to save somebody's life for such a small cost of like your body, which by the way, everybody's like, oh my God, what am I going to lose? We have billions of stem cells.
Yeah.
So you're not losing anything. Then definitely do it. But if you guys have questions too, don't feel afraid to hit me up. Definitely go to the website. They have a ton of information. I know some people, they're like, oh, I can't donate blood. If you can't donate blood, that doesn't mean you can't donate stem cells. So there's no weight requirements, all that stuff. But if you guys ever have the opportunity or you want to come to the swap event in the spring on Rhode Island's campus, feel free to. I won't be there, sadly, but we'll have a lot of other great Rhody football guys. So, yeah.
All right, well, that's great. But, Brady, we're almost out of time here. I just want to say again, thank you for taking the time to join and talk with me today. This was great. This is a perfect start to Season 4 of Marks for Marks. I'm so thrilled firstly, I'm so thrilled to be back, but I'm thrilled that I was able to start it with a show like this and to hear some great stories about that. I know everyone's going to be tuning in to see what you guys are able to get going for football this year. I mean, I know that Holy Cross game was a big deal, and you can put the FBS game to the side a little bit.
Yeah, we'll worry about that one later.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, you got a really good schedule coming up. You got Campbell this Saturday, so, I mean, best of luck to you and the team.
Thank you,
I will be looking forward to paying attention to that and seeing how you guys get on throughout the rest of this season.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. It was a pleasure. And, as soon as you hit me up, I was like, easy yes. I had seen a bunch of the older guys do it, and I was like, I've been dying to do this. So year 6, no better time than now, right? So
yeah,
here we go.
Better late than
yeah,
never.
Exactly.
Well, to everybody listening on the road, at work, at home, or wherever you guys get my show, thank you all for continuously listening. Everybody that listens to the show, or you guys are all the reasons why I keep doing this, and I love doing this. You give me the opportunity to share the stories of so many athletes like Brady. So, again, it's all thanks to you guys. So, yeah, I'll link all of Brady's socials and the link to look at the Be The Match registry in the description on this and on my social medias. So, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Marks Remarks Pod for all updates on this show. We've got a lot of really cool stuff coming through over the next couple of weeks. I've got a lot of stuff planned because, this is my final year in Kingston as well. I may have a little bit longer than Brady since he's going to be out of here in December, but I've got a lot of stuff that I want to keep going through before my time at WRIU comes to an end. So please, like I said, follow me on all the socials, Marks Remarks Pod, and stay tuned because we've got a lot of stuff coming this semester. So that's about it, and we'll catch you all in the next one.